Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, I want to bring you two video clips on the situation in Maui. Um, as we all know, that right after the tragedy in Maui, there was a meeting with a lot of group heads, and one of them being the governor. They had a meeting on their group, which is called Bill Beyond Barriers Working Group Meeting. Um, this was the meeting that he attended, and a lot of people from Maui attended, and we've been getting bits and pieces of stuff like that. I was able to track down the whole meeting through a content creator, which I'll show his video clip right after this. I'll leave the description to his channel so you can get the link to this meeting. It's a 2-hour meeting that I think everybody, if you have some time, you need to really watch it and find out why so many people are upset in Maui. All we got was bits and pieces of people that were there at the meeting and videotaping some of the people that were talking. But this one particular video clip, before the governor leaves the meeting, and then that's when things start to get a little heated right after that. The second video clip is something that a lot of people need to listen to, and it's something that the mainstream media doesn't show. They'll show the other video clips from some of the other people that were at the meeting, even the one with the I believe the MMA, the Hawaiian MMA fighter, who the woman right here, Nani, she wound up resigning after this meeting and saying that she resigned because she was being bullied and harassed and all that, and she felt unsafe. And then everybody, the mainstream media, is pointing the finger at the MMA fighter, which I think is ridiculous. Okay, but before I start this, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers, and if you like this content, please comment, like, share, subscribe, pass it along, and I'll play this clip. You listen to what the mayor has to say. I'll give you my thoughts. Then we're going to go into the second clip, and you're going to find something very interesting about what's going on here. But let's get this going.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for coming. We respect everyone at this table and in this room and beyond. So this is about a process to get input from every opinion. Okay, I want to reassure people of that. Housing is life for us, and we know that. We know that that's one of the great challenges. So how we come together and make this work is what's going to really define these next several years. And I know that there have been concerns about the process. That's why we're all here. That's why we're opening it up. That's why we can all see what's going on. Okay, let's just have that right out there in front. Now, the housing emergency proclamation happened before the Maui crisis, and it is more than a crisis, it's a tragedy.
Now, I don't want to cut it so quick, but remember what he said, the housing emergency proclamation. Okay, that is what's a big problem right now for the residents and the victims of Maui. So just keep that in mind of what he just said about that law that was passed before the fire happened.
Our hearts are broken. We're all there as much as we can be right now, and there's a large process that I'm happy to share more as time goes by about what's happening on the ground in Maui. First and foremost, let me say with absolute clarity, Lahaina will be rebuilt how the people of Lahaina and Maui want. And I want that to be explicit and clear and reiterated over time. That is so important because these two large events have occurred in a similar time frame. The process of this BBB committee and of course the tragedy. And so I don't want people to feel that anything is getting rammed down their throat, and we'll go into that in depth today, okay?
Okay, I'm going to cut him off right now. He says that they don't want to ram anything down anybody's throat. But here's the thing. It's happening. It's already happening, and people see it, and people are talking about it. Nobody's being led into their own property. People are being arrested. You can't fly drones over the property to find out what's going on. Nobody's getting the answers that they need. This man is stuck up, up until this point, as of today, sticking with a death count is only 115. They have yet to put out how many burn victims ended up in the hospital, what's their status, okay? And the biggest question out of all of that, out of many questions, is the whereabouts of the children. How many children? If you look at my last video, you'll see that one of the natives that was trying to help people said that he's seen bodies of children all over the place. Okay? So, pay attention to what this man is saying, because this was right after the fire. We're talking a few weeks ago. All right? As opposed to what's going on now. And like I've been saying in my last few videos, the powers that be, they keep contradicting themselves. He said one thing here, he doesn't want to ram anything down anybody's throat, but he is the governor of Hawaii. And he is not giving the people the leeway to go and find some sort of closure to get into the fire zone and be a part of the cleanup, to be a part of the community, to do something in order to find some sort of closure and to answer the questions. Okay? They just want to keep running on the same narrative. But let's continue.
That is important. The people of Lahaina are suffering terribly, as we know. The people of all over Maui are suffering because it's having a huge ripple effect. 12,000 people essentially were displaced. Right now, 6,000 of them are in either hotels or Airbnbs. And there's going to be a long process to find ways in the short term to help people in that way. In the longer term, and I'll unpack this in other conversations, to help them stay in stable housing for 18 months in Airbnbs and other houses. And then the questions will be, how do we build temporary structures, that are not in Lahaina? And we could talk about that at great length. I don't want that to be the focus of today's meeting, with everyone's input, but also...
Now you quote what he just said, to build temporary housing not in Lahaina. And that is something that a lot of people, a lot of Lahaina residents are concerned about. That they'll build this temporary housing, they'll put the people in there, okay, and as time goes on, they'll find ways to keep them there and find ways to cordon off that part of Maui. Which later on, okay, days later, he does another press conference, okay, saying that the state's going to try to find a way to acquire the land to supposedly rebuild for the people and or make a memorial. If I had to guess, they're going to lean towards more making a memorial. You know why? Because then that means that, okay, well, we gave you housing, you could just stay there. We're going to use this place to make it a memorial. And then we're going to build around it the way we see fit. This is what I'm saying, that these politicians, they keep contradicting themselves. And there's more people online listening to the lies and going along with the lies. And trying to put out real disinformation, real misinformation. Okay? You got to pay close attention to what everybody is saying. And the reason why I say this and I think like this, I'll give you just a little personal information from myself. I was born and raised in the Bronx. Basically born and raised in the streets. Been around a lot of bad people my whole life. And if there's one thing that you learn when you're born and raised in the streets, you need to listen to every single word, every phrase that a person says when you're out there in the streets. You got to know how to read. It's almost as if you're a mind reader. You got to look at their character. You got to look at their tone of voice. You got to look at how they stand, how they look, every single little thing. Me and my boys, we have a saying back home in New York. You don't teach us how to hustle. We teach you how to hustle. Okay? And when you're raised with that mindset, it's not that you're suspect of everybody because you don't trust You're suspect of everybody because you don't know who to trust. People need to understand that. Until you could truly trust somebody, then they're not suspect anymore. But with the way things are going with the government, okay, in this country, the way things have happened in the past month, this, like I said, this was recorded weeks ago. And look at the situation the way it is now. He's contradicted himself so much. But let's continue.
In a way that over time means that people don't have to be in Airbnbs or hotel rooms if they don't want to be, until the long process. And it will be a long process of people deciding what to build and where and how in Lahaina. That's me just trying to share.
See? And the people will decide what to build, where, and how. When he says the people, who is he actually speaking of? Because he has yet, from what I know, had a meeting with the people in Lahaina, in Maui, in or around the fire zone. I have yet to see any kind of video with this man in a town hall meeting. Okay? Not this meeting that was brought somewhere else on the island, as you will find out in a few minutes. A meeting that should have been held in Lahaina, in that county, in that jurisdiction. And people will say, well, there was nowhere they could have had it. Yes, they could have. There was no more danger. They could have found somewhere to do it, somewhere around it that wasn't affected. But they didn't. There's always a reason. But let's continue.
As openly as I can, what's going on with that process. Needless to say, it is an effort that will require everyone on Maui, across the state, federal support, humanitarian support. We want to do things right, and we want to do them right, not just vis-a-vis this committee and this process. And I know that we will have our moments where we agree or disagree on process, but we want to particularly be sensitive about what's happening on Maui. And I needed to share that with you today because of the gravity of the situation. Again, we welcome every amount of input, both in person, in meetings like this, through friends and family. But a lot of people on Maui right now really can't even speak up because they don't have maybe their cell phones back or internet, or they're just wrestling with the very basics of life. So I needed to share that with you. And then I'm just going to share my appreciation. Again, I know that this is in many ways a volatile move from people's perspective to push so hard into housing. I only say that we wrestle with these issues and try to find a path to build housing in a good way for our people because it was such a big issue even before the crisis. And I'm not using the crisis in any way to impact how we go about this meeting. I'm just saying it's very important that as we address the crisis, other issues are going to continue. We're going to continue to work on homelessness. We're going to continue to work on housing. We're going to continue to address the larger economic questions so that our state can go forward.
See, and that's the whole thing. Again, those are some of the worst things you can hear from a government official when they use the term, they start talking about housing. Like I said, born and raised in New York, I mean, I don't know, in some of the worst neighborhoods, if it was better to leave them like that and or bulldoze them down. Because sometimes they would clear the way and build housing. And now it's all brand new housing. But the control from the government was way worse. It was almost as if people were living in giant, like, concentration little towns. You know? I mean, look at the projects in New York. Look at the projects anywhere you go. That's all government housing. And look at how look at the way people start living in it. The way government crams everybody in, pulls away, the way the crime grows. I mean, whenever a government official starts using that term housing, in my opinion, it's never a good thing. It never is. Okay? But let's continue.
So that's why we didn't cancel the meeting today, because I think even if we move 1 inch, it's good for the people and us at this table and across the state to see that we're working on the issues that are big. So again, please accept my deep appreciation for being at this table, being in this discussion, and let's find a way, if we can, to build housing for the people of Hawaii that works for all of us. So mahalo for participating. Aloha.
Okay. Now he stays at this meeting for not too much longer, then he just dips on everybody. All right. But after he leaves, everybody at that round table has something to say. They start talking. And then the people, the citizens, the natives, they start putting their input, and that's when it gets out of hand. Not by them. And when I mean out of hand, it's not like, threats were made or, people were pushing and shoving. No, it gets out of hand because it just shows that, you know what? He couldn't even stay for the whole meeting. All right? The people start getting angry because they heard from him first. They hear from everybody at the round table. And by then, I mean, everybody's, their tempers, their feelings are boiled up. And, you'll hear a lot of the people that are speaking, they address the fact that he left. But I'm going to play one clip that is very important for everybody to hear. And it'll explain, in my opinion, why he left and why the woman, Nani, why she resigned. So here we go.
Name for you, Leonard Nakua III, Daniel Palakiko, Tom Kaufman.
Can you go a little bit slower because I'm going to write it down.
Oh, you actually have a copy of this. This is a lawsuit that was put on you yesterday at 4:35 p.m.
Oh, thank you.
It's a quo warranto that's supposed to be limiting your...
Okay. So this is where, when the natives start speaking up, this is one of many. And this man right here came with the receipts, people. Came with the receipts. The thing with people in power, and I've noticed a lot, and I hate being political about it, but in this point, I'm going to have to. Okay? And believe me, 99% of the people that have been affected in Maui, they vote Democrat or whatever the case is, and my heart goes out to them because, life is precious. But these people are Democratic officials, and to be part of a meeting and then to find out that there are lawsuits against you, that's embarrassing. Okay? Everybody in the round table, all right, in some way, shape, or form has their hand in the cookie jar. Like I said, the actual video is over 2 hours long. I can't play the whole thing. I will leave a description. I will leave a link in the description to the gentleman who put this video out on his page. In his description, he has the link to the whole full video from the town hall meeting. And you're going to see it. It's not bits and pieces anymore like what they're putting on the media or other content creators could only get bits and pieces. It's the whole thing. And you'll see what's going on. But let's continue and listen to every word this man has to say.
Powers questioning the validity of this entire group. So I just want to go ahead and come forward with this oral intervention. We the people are present. You cannot shut us out of this meeting just because we're not a part of this working group. We are the majority stakeholders of these lands. Corpus Juris Secundum, page 340, volume book 38A, page 340, right column. When the de jure people are present, the de facto, which is all of you, must step down. You need to hear the people when the people come forward, and you need to give the people a seat, not just this group on this table. Fourth and fifth branches of government, because I hear in this quo warranto that you guys are a deliberative assembly. Right here in the first, the third line, second page of this quo warranto that was delivered to you guys yesterday. Respondent Build Beyond Barriers Working Group acts as a deliberative assembly established by the governor of the state of Hawaii, known as the Working Group. There is a de jure grand jury and assembly present, which is the fourth and fifth branch of government. And you guys do not supersede that fourth and fifth branch of government. So you need to keep in mind of the level of law in this land.
Okay, did you guys catch that? They don't supersede the people. The people supersede them because it's the people that own that land. But yet the governor went and had a meeting how they're going to, start doing things differently with housing and all that. And then he goes and passes an emergency proclamation. They have a meeting off of the site. And everybody at the round table is part of an organization that wants to proceed with housing, as they say, for the homeless and now for the people that have been displaced. Oh, how convenient. But yet that they go out and ask anybody from the community, do you have anybody to represent you? Because in my opinion, this man right here could have represented the community. He could have been sitting at the round table, but no. That's not how they wanted it. But let's continue.
You are outside of jurisdiction. This meeting has no standing, and your assembly is out of authority. You are being investigated right now by the Second Circuit Court. There is judges who have signed off on this, and you still hold this meeting?
Did you guys catch that? Now tell me if this is all true. If that is not corruption, I don't know what is. And this is the reason why I believe that woman Nani stepped down. She resigned. In other words, she got busted. And she probably figured, you know what? I'm going to pull my tail out of this one. Because he's right. They're being investigated. And yet they're going to go and have a meeting out of the jurisdiction. Talk about corruption, huh? But let's continue.
Without Lahaina present, people from Lahaina sent you this quo rental, yet you still feel like it's okay to sit here and talk about programs and housing and how much money you guys lost. Moving people out of Lahaina to Keao. How is that okay? This is not even a state issue. This is a Maui County issue. This meeting should be held in Maui. Not here, not with all of you, in the state level. County supersedes the state level. It's just that you look a little confused. County supersedes the state level. The leadership has been contracted verbally from your boss, Joshua B. Green, to the people of Lahaina. You guys are supposed to be following the leadership of the people. You said that in this meeting. He sat there and reiterated it. Yet, the working group, luckily you said we have public testimony. I don't know if we'll have it at the next meeting. But only you guys can sit at this table. You gotta bring Lahaina in. And this is why this meeting should be held there. So the people of that land can be there for that meeting. As far as the people see it, you have no authority. You have zero standing because the major constitutional violations within 127A. This meeting does not stand as valid, and you have no authority, Nani, to do what you guys are doing here. Take the meeting back to the county of Maui, please. That's not even a request. That's a demand from the people. Take this back to Maui County. Let Maui deal with it. Aloha.
Everyone in this meeting, including Nani, is unelected by the...
Okay, now you heard that. The gentleman is going to narrate. He's the one to put the video out. Pay attention to the information he puts out.
people. Hawaii Governor Josh Green made an emergency proclamation that he claims is for homelessness, but then he also used it for the fire. Josh Green visited Maui the next day after the tragedy, and then when he came back, he issued the 5th emergency proclamation, which suspends regular laws of the land.
As the third largest stakeholders, the state, do want that land and can take it when you deem it a natural disaster. And that is disgusting. And that is why I'm also here today, because someone needs to call that out. We wanted the samples right away. You guys stopped the people from going in.
If you read this right here, it says that Josh Green has additional powers in an emergency period. He can do construction, renovation, and he doesn't have to go through the legal process that you normally would. And he even admits it.
Governor Josh Green had to say, along with the FEMA director, about preserving Lahaina moving forward.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who were lost.
You see that? Right away. There should be no or. What it should be is, we're going to go inside, assess the situation, bring the people back in, Find out who wants to volunteer to work together with the authorities so we can start this cleanup and we can start moving forward. Not try to find a way, like he just said on camera, to acquire the land. You see what I'm saying, people? How these people contradict themselves? And it just baffles me. Okay? It baffles my mind that there are people out there right now on the ground putting out content saying that don't believe everything you're hearing. That you have officials like him right now, as of recent. And what's the other congresswoman, Hirono from Hawaii, saying that, oh, the Russians are putting out disinformation that the people are being this and the people are doing that and they're being told what kind of help they can have and they cannot have. Damn it, you're saying it yourself. You said it yourself. You make the moves beforehand. And it wasn't a coincidence. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way you go and you sign, you make deals, then a tragedy happens, and then you go and you make a proclamation that's going to take over the land that was affected, but then you're going to talk about, oh, we're going to have housing for the people that were affected, when the whole meeting was supposed to be about making housing for people that were homeless. How convenient isn't that? But let's continue.
We want this to be something that we remember after the pain passes as a magic place. And Lahaina will rebuild. The tragedy right now is the loss of life.
Josh Green's Build Beyond Barriers group says everything in the name itself. They're trying to build where they can't. One of the reasons why they can't build is because of historical laws. And that's the very law that gets suspended when he deems a natural disaster or an emergency. And if you know the history of Lahaina Town, it's the very first capital of Hawaii. And we haven't even got into how the fire started, why the police were blocking traffic, why the firefighters didn't have water. Why does the news report that the power lines down is what started the fire, when the power company says that the power was off that day? Why weren't the sirens used? The guy responsible for that resigned, and he also wasn't even on Maui when this fire happened. With all of these things added up, it paints a picture, and we all should be questioning this.
And I 100% know with every fiber of my being that this was not a natural disaster. This was a planned attack. There are many, it's a 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 equation. You cannot call me a conspiracy theorist for being a critical thinker. Did you know that the CIA, the corrupt CIA, invented the words conspiracy theorist as a way to gaslight people for speaking up on the truth? I am here to protect the Mother Earth, where I came from. I don't care that I was born in Maui, okay? This is about the living earth and the people with good hearts, okay? This is not about division. This is about unity, and this is about coming together and fighting for the rights of the people. Climate change does not exist. You guys are modifying our weather, okay?
Excuse me. Okay, I appreciate your comments again, I do, but we really need to stick to the items on the agenda. It is 11:10.
I don't care about your agenda. You know what? Your agenda can kiss my ass, okay? Your agenda can literally kiss my butt.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
We're done.
Oh.
And there you go, people, and that's the way it should be. And you see how she gets shut down right away when she mentions climate change, that it doesn't exist, because that's a lot what they're talking about. Even Green is talking about he's blaming the people. Oh, it's because we didn't do this and the people didn't do that, and everything, was drying up and yada, 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 and climate change this and climate change that. You see, they try to put all these trigger phrases and stuff like that to get people to think a different way and say, oh, well, you know what, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe it was the weather, maybe it was the people's faults. No, how about this? How about maybe let's just start with the basics, okay? That it was planned from the beginning something was going to happen. There was too many people on the ground, too many so-called emergency responders on the ground way before the fire happened. Even by Joe Biden's words, he said he had over 600 people on the ground before the fire even happened. Why? A question nobody answers. Okay? Why were there blockades? If you go back in the video and you see the little map that the guy had, You'll see circled where the fire started. You'll see how much room the people had to get away. Why were there police blockades? Why were they saying that there was live power when the power company says, again, the power was off beforehand? And how hard would it have been to make a phone call to the power company and say, cut off that grid? But now they have this back and forth. The power company is blaming the emergency service in the county. The county is blaming the power company. Okay, the governor's blaming climate change and the people. I mean, and the whole time they're not talking about the real issues, the real body count. Where are all the children? I'll say it again. Why were so many people left, trapped inside? Why were they diverted from different highways? I mean, there's so much video out there, and they're trying to suppress it. Why now? The new narrative is Russian influence. I didn't see any Russians or Chinese people putting out any misinformation. All I've seen is the powers that be contradicting themselves. That's what I see. Now, if you're going to say that they're Russian informants, spies, or Chinese informants and spies, then you know what? That's on you. And I'm glad this woman told her. And it gets better with the way the residents, okay, the natives, are speaking up at this meeting. Like I said, you have to watch the whole video. It's a lot. But then for that woman to go and resign, saying that, oh, it's because, online attacks and being bullied and this and that. Was it that, or was it that your man that came before and told you that there's a lawsuit against you and that you're all under investigation? You're not even supposed to be having that meeting. Judges have already signed off on that fact. That she realized, I'm busted. We should have never had this meeting. And if that's the case, people, that means that the governor should have never been there. He should have known better and said, we can't have this meeting. But here's the kicker. Since he signed that emergency proclamation, all that was pushed to the side. Because the emergency proclamation gives him power to suspend whatever he deems needs to be suspended. Like I told everybody, this is not over, not by a long shot. It's definitely not. But I'm True Outlaw Patriot. Hope you like the content. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around, share it, leave a comment, give me your thoughts. If there's anything else I need to know, let me know. I'll try to look it up and put it together. Again, pray for the children that are still missing, and I'm going to keep saying that to every single one is accounted for. Okay? And adults also. And remember, if you can help in any way, shape, or form that you know for a fact you can help them without having to go through any more government entities, projects, or whatever it is, I mean, you people are smart enough. Do so. Help them. Until the next one, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.